Hello, everybody. If you are listening to this, it means the new quad recycling system will soon be implemented into your workspace. We'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to our program, go through the changes that you will soon see in your quad recycling system, and explain what your role will be in this transition. We are Waste Recovery Services, a division of facilities management that provides municipal solid waste, trash collection, recycling services, organics collection and processing, debris collection, the reuse program, and infectious and hazardous waste handling to the university's 200 plus buildings and 50,000 plus students. We process all recyclable materials collected on campus at the Como Recycling Facility. Processing includes the sorting of office paper, newspaper plus, and cans and bottles categories in your quad system into specific commodities for sale as raw materials for making new products. The university recycling system is surrounded by many other recycling programs in the metro area that are operated at the county and municipal level. These programs contract with a variety of haulers and processing facilities throughout the metro area. The University Recycling Program is unique because it provides all these services within one internal hauler and processor, while integrating the entire system from desk to dock to market. Many of these surrounding programs have a significant impact on the quality of materials collected through the university's recycling program. This impact is a result of the difference between single and dual stream recycling. Most residential recycling programs have gone to single stream recycling, which means all acceptable recyclable materials can be placed in the same curbside bin, whereas the university's program will become dual stream recycling with the implementation of the new quad system. All recyclable paper in one bin and all recyclable bottles and cans in another. Acceptable items will also vary from program to program. That is why it is important to know what is acceptable for recycling at the university. This image is the waste management hierarchy, which was created by the EPA and adopted by the state of Minnesota as a strategy for managing all the solid waste. At the top is the most important, reduce, while at the bottom, landfill is the least desirable option. If you can reduce the amount of waste you produce at the source, you have less to manage. That's collection, transportation, and processing, and can preserve resources. You can see recycling is right there in the middle. So you have to keep in mind that in order to get this campus to zero waste, we have to first learn to reduce our waste and reuse what we can before we can go to recycling. Slide shows the amount of municipal solid waste generated and disposed from the Twin Cities campus annually. MSW can be simply thought of as trash can waste. Roughly 3,800 tons of materials are currently collected for recycling and composting. That still leaves 5,300 tons that end up in the incinerator in downtown Minneapolis. This is the material that was placed in the trash bin instead of the recycling bin on campus. This 5,300 tons is why the new quad system is being proposed and developed for the campus, because the majority of the items being trashed and incinerated can be recycled and composted. Here's an overview of what we see coming through the Como recycling facility. As you can see by the graph on the right of the screen, office paper and organics are our two largest contributors to the stream. Organics is the highest volume, but that organic material only represents about 50% of what's out there on campus, and it's only collected from about 30 buildings on campus. The purpose of the new quad system is to capture the rest of that 50% that's spread out across campus wide. You also might take note that our percentage recovery is right around 42%. Here's our short-term goal to exceed the 50% recovery rate. But ultimately, the university is working towards zero waste. Because of the nature of the waste stream in general, it is not currently possible to achieve true zero waste. So, the practical definition of zero waste is 90% recovery. This is what the current system looks like, the quad system. It's serviced by the 450 people in our custodial program. It consists of 20,000 plus containers and has a consistent color code campus-wide. Gray for office paper, maroon for bottles and cans, and gold for newspaper plus. This is modular, however, and can be catered to the needs of your department. If our goal is to exceed 50% recovery, here are the steps to do it. The first is to combine the office paper and newspaper plus streams. The volume of newspaper over the years has been declining. So now we're going to be able to afford to pick newspaper straight out of the office paper stream at our facility in Como. We're also going to add organics, making it the new quad system, and as well as desk side recycling containers to accompany your desk side trash containers. You guys are also going to have to coordinate your events towards zero waste. This means reaching out to your caterers and everything when you have lunch events and making sure that they are using certified compostable utensils. The two things in gold at the bottom are actually two very important resolutions that just passed in the University Senate. And that's the change across campus to compostable food serviceware. So all the restaurants on campus will have certified compostable food serviceware. It'll make things a lot easier when you're deciding what can and cannot go in the organics container, as well as implementing centralized collection. Centralized collection essentially means that you guys are going to be in charge of your own waste. So, our quad system is getting a makeover. The gold newspaper plus containers that you see on campus are now going to be considered gold recyclable paper only. There's going to be no more deciding between what is and is not office paper. This is actually going to make things a whole lot simpler. So any recyclable paper can go into the container. We'll get into exactly what is and is not acceptable later on in the presentation. This is what the organics container will look like. You'll notice that there is a bucket inserted into the larger quad and lid. The buckets are lined with a compostable bag and paper towels are placed in the bottom of the bucket for the absorption of liquids. The bucket is intended for normal daily generation of organic materials from your office area. Since compostable bags are expensive, the small bucket is used instead of the entire quad container because organic materials are high in weight and low in volume. So a smaller container and bag are used to reduce cost. When most of the disposable cutlery in your office is replaced with the compostable equivalents, then the quad container can be used for organics collection with a high volume of organics. The organics bucket will be emptied daily. There is also a compostable liner in the quad container, so if you were to have a lunch meeting or event, you will be able to remove the bucket and use both the bucket and the lined container for the collection of organic materials. This will give you the extra capacity for compostable plates, cups, and utensils for up to 40 people. So here's your black and blue desk side recycling stream. It'll be single stream at the desk. Both your paper and bottles and cans will be placed into the blue bin. When it's time to empty the blue bin into the quad, remove the cans and bottles and place them into the maroon cans and bottles quad container, and dump all the remaining paper into the gold recyclable paper quad. Saddle attachments are available for the specific segregation of materials at your desk. These can be hooked to the side of your desk side containers to keep things separated. Here's our overview of centralized collection. We'll talk about what your role will be, the custodian's role, and the results. Your role in this whole thing is to empty your desk side containers into the central quad location at least once a week. Doing it at least once a week is very important, especially with the implementation of organics. If you wait longer than that week, you're going to start having issues with decomposition and you're going to get fruit flies in your workspace. The custodians will no longer service your desk side receptacles and will only service the quad containers. What this does is it puts the control of managing waste directly into the hands of the generator. And hopefully, as you manage your waste and take things over to that quad container, you'll realize how much waste you're producing. And hopefully, you'll choose to reduce that. You'll change your habits. I mean, you don't want to be getting up all the time because your trash keeps filling up. It also levels the playing field between trash disposal and recycling. As the current system stands, there's no real incentive to recycle. It's a whole lot easier for somebody just to throw a recyclable material into their trash bin because a custodian comes by and picks it up at the end of the day. But that's no longer going to be the case, so there's no reason not to recycle. And it results in recovery rates near 90%. We've run studies ourselves, and that's our ultimate goal, is to get to that point. Time to delve into what goes where. So, recyclable paper. Anything that is newspaper, office paper, small cardboard, which includes cereal boxes, corrugated cardboard boxes, tissue boxes. The plastic lining is okay on those tissue boxes. Hard and soft cover books, magazines, envelopes, whether they have windows or labels on them, are okay. Brown paper bags, as long as they're not too soiled and greasy. Post-it notes are fine as well. What cannot go in the recyclable paper container is frozen food boxes, which is a big one. It can be confusing, but the thing is with frozen food boxes is that they have a small plastic lining on the inside of them because they're stored in a freezer, so they cannot be recycled. And any non-compostable paper cups and plates, so your Starbucks cups and all that, Caribou coffee, those even though they are paper cups, they have that same lining on the inside to keep the moisture in, and they cannot be recycled. Any dark and brightly colored paper, paper towels, tissues, napkins, or that soiled brown paper bag can be put into the organics container instead of the recyclable paper container. Cans and bottles. Now, cans and bottles is quite literally cans and bottles. So all your plastic bottles and jars, aluminum cans, tin cans, aluminum foil, if you have those small pieces of aluminum foil like from those little Dove candies or like Hershey's Kisses, those are pretty small. They might get lost in the shuffle of things. So you're going to want to ball those up until you've accumulated enough of them, and then you could throw them in the container. All colored glass jars and bottles are all right, and empty aerosol cans are good too, as long as they are empty aerosol cans. If they are half full or full, they need to be handled by hazardous waste. You cannot put any ceramics, light bulbs, mirrors, plate glass, or drinking glasses in the cans and bottles container. One thing that also often gets confusing about cans and bottles is people associate it with just plastic. And like if you have one of those clamshell cases or like a microwave dinner plastic plate thing that is like uh, that flimsier plastic that has that #1 logo on it, it actually cannot go in cans and bottles and belongs in the trash. It's even though it does say #1, it's a different type of #1 plastic, and it cannot be processed uh, the same as the normal #1 plastic as you see on water bottles or soda bottles. Now on to our newest addition, the organics container. The organics container can be a little bit confusing. It is new. We haven't seen many of them on campus, but if it's an organic material, it can go in there. So that's all food scraps, banana and orange peels, apple cores, meat bones, and dairy are okay. I know in backyard compost piles, you're not supposed to put meat bones or dairy in there, but it's okay to put it in our containers because they are uh, sent to an industrial composting facility that can handle those. Coffee grounds, filters, fruit pits, nutshells, eggshells, spoiled foods, fine too. It gets picked up every day, so you don't have to worry about that. Napkins, paper towels, tissues. Yes, even the tissues that you blow your nose with, those are all right. Um, Dark and brightly colored paper. Um, Untreated wood, so like stirring sticks for your coffee or tea. Uh, Soiled pizza boxes, and any silverware or plates that are certified compostable. Chinette, Greenware, and World Centric are three of those companies that you'll see on campus that have certified compostable dining ware. What cannot go in the organics container are any plastic wrappers, sugar and tea packets, paper cartons, frozen food boxes, microwave popcorn bags, or sanitary and cleaning wipes like Lysol wipes cannot go in there. Um, so you've heard me use the term certified compostable a few times now. Um, Now you're probably wondering, what does that mean? Certified compostable means that if the product that's in your hand was tested in a laboratory setting to confirm that the product does indeed break down in an industrial composting facility within 30 days of its arrival. So, logos you'll often see that indicate certified compostability are the BPI logo. It stands for Bioproducts Institute. They're probably the most popular one you will see. You'll also run across the Cedar Grove logo as well. That means it's also okay. The two numbers that are normally associated with it are 7 and 0. When you see 7, you have to be careful though, because 7 with plastics is normally just stands for other. It's just kind of a catch-all for any plastic that they can't classify. But if it says 7 with PLA underneath it, then it is certified compostable. PLA is a corn-based plastic, and it will break down in compost piles. Zero is another one adopted by a lot of the compostable brands as well. So you'll see that, and that is also okay. Here's some ways that you can manage your waste at the desk side. This wet-dry approach here, basically the gist of it is just to keep your wet waste separate from your dry waste. Recyclables, trash, organics, all of it. It's just going to be a whole lot easier for you as the waste sorter if those are kept separate from each other. Really wet stuff like banana peels or apple cores, you want to get that out of your desk area as soon as possible because you'll get issues with decomposition and fruit flies if you let it sit too long. Some more tips and tricks for managing your desk side waste. You can collect your organics in a small cup, and you could bring it over to the organics quad at the end of the day when you've filled that cup up. Now, if that cup is certified compostable, if it has one of those logos we talked about on it, you could put that cup right into the bin with all that stuff. If it's not, however, you could keep reusing that disposable cup until it gets a little too gross, and you could throw that in the trash only container. The saddle is available at U Market and is really good for keeping your recyclables separate, and I do highly recommend it. But it is your waste and you can choose to manage it however you'd like. Pizza boxes are compostable, remember that. And you can deposit small amounts of liquids in the organics container if there's a nice base to absorb those liquids in the bottom of it. But the bags don't do very well just because of their biodegradable nature, holding large volumes of liquid. So if it is a large volume of liquid, we do recommend that that gets dumped down the sink. Now, last and most definitely least, trash only. Trash only is everything that is unacceptable in the recycling bins. So disposable paper products that are plastic lined, any cups, plates, anything like that, trash. Plastic wrappers and packaging, even though it's plastic, it can't go in with the cans and bottles. It's got to be trashed. Candy wrappers, condiment packets, oatmeal packets, butcher paper, most sandwich wrap, chip bags, paper cartons, yogurt containers. Even though yogurt containers are acceptable through Hennepin County, we cannot take them at our facility. Styrofoam, those frozen food boxes that are very deceiving, stickers and sticker paper, like the backs and name tags, anything with adhesive on it really is trash. Packing peanuts. The thing about packing peanuts is, though, some of them are cornstarch packing peanuts, and they could be put in the organics. If you want to figure that out, if you want to, there is one good way of testing that. Just throw one in your mouth, and if it dissolves, it's organic and it can go in the organics container. If it does not dissolve, just spit it right into the trash can. They're actually quite tasty. They kind of taste like that those little corn puffs, like the pirate's booty. Very nice. A lot of carbs though, so lay off them as much as you can. So you want to know your waste so that we can have no waste. So here are the benefits to the 3 R's: reducing, reusing, and recycling. There are internal, more tangible benefits that the university sees directly, which are reducing the cost of disposal. It actually costs less for us to process and recycle and compost all of our MSW than it would if we were just to ship it straight to be incinerated or landfilled. It also increases revenue for the university program. That revenue from everything we sell goes right back into the program and to the university at large. Keeps people employed, keeps the facilities looking nice, and it demonstrates our university's commitment to sustainability. And that's a big thing. We're really proud of what we do here at the U, and it's just another example of how forward-thinking our campus is. There are external benefits, some less tangible ones. They're like water, resource, and energy conservation. It actually takes 90% less energy and resources to manufacture a soda can from recycled aluminum than it does from virgin aluminum. To that effect, every pound of material that you recycle reduces 2 pounds of CO2. I wanted to look at the waste management hierarchy one last time to emphasize the importance of reduction and to remind you that centralized collection is really just about reducing the amount of waste that you generate in your office. Thank you. Hopefully, with your help, we can get this campus to zero waste. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at recycle@umn.edu.